Good evening. Welcome to the Penfield Town Board Work Session meeting today on October 13th, 2021. My name is Andy Moore, Deputy Supervisor. I'll be presiding over this meeting. Supervisor LaFountain apologizes. He is out with a health issue with his family, so he will not be joining us this evening. With that, we'd like to go ahead and get the meeting started. Go ahead, call to order, and if we can have the roll call, please.
Here. Here.
Here.
Here.
Thank you. Moving on through the agenda tonight, agenda item number 2, approval of minutes. This is the minutes of the September 22nd, 2021 work session meeting.
I'll move those.
Okay.
Second.
Moved by Councilwoman Draw, second by Councilman Akadin. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 All those opposed? Hearing none. Minutes pass. Thank you. Monthly reports. I believe all the monthly reports have been submitted. If they have not been submitted, I have no doubt Supervisor LaFountain will reach out to the department heads and let them know. But so far, I am not aware that that's the case at this point in time. Thank you, department heads, for getting those to the supervisor and ultimately to the town board. Public hearings, agenda item number 4. We do not have any public hearings tonight. Moving on to agenda item number 5, guests. Mr. Costello, I believe that Mr. Antetomaso is unable to make this meeting due to a travel conflict. He's not in town.
That is correct, and he's requested that he be bumped to the next agenda on the 27th.
Okay. Why don't we go ahead and schedule that discussion for the 22nd, you said?
Very good. 27th. Yeah.
27th of October. Assuming that is satisfactory to Supervisor LaFountain, I'm sure you'll check with him tomorrow.
Very good.
Okay, great, thank you. We'll move on through the agenda. Agenda item number 6, action items. Dr. Howitt is requesting an extension of conditional use permit for the Bayview Landing apartment building at 1211 and 1185 Empire Boulevard. Jim?
That's correct. Thank you, Andy. He has requested an extension. He's been working with the state DOT now for quite some time. His extension actually does not even, his permit does not expire until March of 2022, but he's been working with the DOT and anticipates that it may take that long at least to get this resolved. So he is asking for another year extension after the March period runs out for his permit. So there is no change in the application. There's no change in anything on the site that you've approved. It's just a matter now of him just working through the process with the various agencies to get to where he needs to be for the final approval.
Okay. Any questions from the board?
Can I just ask a question, please? Jim, question on that. As far as this permit, it means he would have to start by March of 2022?
Yes, that's correct.
And what he wants now is an extension to be able to start his project March of 2023.
Right, but yes, it will expire in 2022. He wants that extra period of time just in case there's a problem. He anticipates starting, but he doesn't have any control over the review process with the DOT and is just a little bit nervous that he might not make it to March 2022.
And if he were not to make it to then, would he have to go?
He would have to come back for a public hearing on a renewal for a permit, but you have the option of not requiring a public hearing if there's no specific change to the application, which there is not at this time. I mean, there's no intent on his part to change the application. So.
Understood. Thank you.
All right, so no material change of the application, just an extension request.
Correct.
Okay. Any other questions for the board? All right, Jim, I take it that the board needs to vote on that extension?
Yes, you do. Yep.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to grant the request for an extension to the conditional use permit.
I'll second that.
Okay, it's moved by Councilman Akadin, second by Councilwoman Cole. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Costello. All right, moving to action item B, requesting approval of sign package for the Bellagio apartment building at 1384 Empire Boulevard. Jim?
Yes, we've been working with the Daniele family to wrap up the development procedures for the apartment building. The apartment building is occupied and is fully compliant now with all the requirements of the conditions of approval. One outstanding matter was that at the time the building was being constructed, the Danieles did install signage on the building. The signage is well within compliance in terms of the size and the amount that's required for the property. They actually are entitled to approximately 802 square feet. I didn't want to tell them that for fear that they might put up 802 square feet, but
That would never happen.
You never know. In any event, there are 3 signs on the building. The signs total, I think, about 162 square feet. The 3 signs entail the cupola as you walk in the front of the building. There's a small sign that says Bellagio over the main entrance. There's a larger sign on the top of the building underneath this area here, which says Bellagio, and then there's a third sign, which is on the back side of that cupola that faces out towards the water that says Bellagio. Do you have some specifics to that? Thanks to Mr. Daniele. This is the actual material that's on the upper area before you get to the top of the roof. And then, let's see if I can, here's the one that's underneath the canopy as you walk in the building. So they are well within the requirements for signage. It's just a matter of us trying to get them to wrap up the permit process for the signs.
So this isn't additional, this is just,
No, these are the signs that are on the building. They're not asking for anything more. They're just asking to memorialize, what has been put on the building.
So, and Jim, correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I understood the first part of your statement was it falls within the standards.
Well
of
within the
what we would
standards, yes.
normally accept.
As a matter of fact, the 2 signs that are up on the high points are 79.75 square feet each one.
Okay.
So that brings them to about 160, something like that. The other sign is 17 square feet that's underneath the canopy area that you walk into. So they are well within the requirements.
Okay.
It's just a matter of making sure, as we have in the past, that any signage that is put on these buildings that you have jurisdiction over, that you see the signs and you're comfortable with them before we move forward with issuing any permits for them.
okay, that being said, I move that we approve the package that's already been completed
Yes.
formally.
Draw a second.
I'll second that.
All right, so that proposal is moved by Councilwoman Cole. It is seconded by Councilwoman Draw. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion passes. Thank you, Jim. All right, action item number C, or letter C, request for rezoning of 2218, 2222, and 2226, Penfield, I believe that's Penfield Road, from limited business to general business. Is that correct, Jim?
That's correct.
Okay. All right, Jim, can you give us a little short background on that?
Yes, we obviously had a public hearing on the matter. Dr. H came in previously to the public hearing to discuss the matter with the board in an informal session. We held the public hearing. Upon the public hearing, we did receive input from Dr. Sannon, also Mr. Popley, who are both property owners adjacent to these sites. We also received material from Mr. Goldman, who represents Dr. H. And I think you received some material yesterday from me, which I had unfortunately was not able to share with Mr. Goldman until before this meeting tonight. But I did receive that from Mr. Popley yesterday afternoon and sent it on to you. That is the material that I received to date.
Okay. And I will confirm that the town board did receive the correspondence from Mr. Goldman and also a correspondence from Mr. Popley. So we all got those letters, too.
Yes.
Okay. Any comments from the board as we deliberate?
Just a question. We seem to receive, I think, several emails from residents, and I know I didn't know if those were on record, if those were entered into any of the communication?
The only emails I've received are actually from Dr. Sannon, Mr. Popley, Mr. Goldman. And then at the public hearing, we had one speaker, I believe, Ms. Cynthia. Other than that, I have not received any emails from anybody.
Maybe you weren't copied in.
I certainly was not
I
because
apologize, yeah, we did, as the town board, we
Okay.
received several, I don't want to say
So
several
you
without
may,
knowing the
if
number.
you've got them, you may want to get them on the record. Just
That was my point. They were from neighbors across the street from that area, as well as, is it Coventry? Is that the?
Yeah, I was not,
Right.
I was not copied in on those.
Okay. Yeah, we received several after the last hearing, so just want to make sure those were part of the record or should be included.
Yeah, if you have them, please send them to me and we'll incorporate them into the record. And
Supervisor has
if there's substantive comment in those documents, we probably should share them with the applicant as well.
Yeah.
So they have an opportunity to discuss or react to them.
Yeah, I think maybe, correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. Ocken, I think there was 4 or 5 residents that reached out to us. I think the common theme on that was a noise issue. I think also a theme, if I remember correctly on those, was about just the precedent setting with the change of zoning that would take place going from limited business to general business. I think they were pretty common themes
Yeah,
in those
I would agree.
emails. So, and yes, Jim, we'll get those to you for the record on this application. Right, any other thoughts, any other concerns, any questions for Mr. Costello? Moving forward?
I think we,
Who wants to start?
it doesn't, Linda, if you want to go first, that's fine.
Well, I believe that this is not a proper rezoning for this area. I've been concerned from the get-go because of, it's more of a, you might disagree, but a spot zoning, because we have neighbors on both sides who are not supportive of it, and we have to change the whole zoning of that one area in order to accommodate this one application. And unless everyone sees the same, that they agree that this is, they want the rezoning, I don't see how we can support one change for one property owner and not the others. So I've had a problem with that from the get-go. And we have had, we haven't received any positive support for this, but we have had negative. We've had negative support from those businesses and from the residents that emailed us after the public hearing and from the one person that spoke at the public hearing. I just think that it's better suited to stay as limited business. I don't see a reason to change it to general business, so I am not supportive of this application, and I would move to deny the application.
Any other comments?
No, I think Councilwoman Cole said what is probably on many, most of the board's mind as far as this proposal. The limited use, I think there's a reason we have a limited use, district up there to, as she said, we need a buffer for that neighborhood, for the businesses up there. I heard, and I have not heard anything positive as far as coming forward about, as much as I may like the applicants that are interested in doing something in that area, I'm unfortunately agree that it probably isn't in the best interest for the people of Penfield in our community. So I would not be in favor of this rezoning.
All right, is that a second?
Oh, I guess that's a second.
Okay. Yeah, I just want to say a couple comments. I mean, I see the pros and cons to both sides of this argument. This personally was a tough decision for me to make because I see the good with having the car wash in there, and I do want to see a quality product Royal Car Wash quality operation in the town of Penfield in a location somewhere up in that 250 corridor. But my concern is the precedent setting. In talking with the town attorney and the supervisor, I do have concern about changing the zoning at this particular property, at this particular time, in this particular location. Not to say that, a commercial type business or an office business could go in there. I think that potentially it could when we start to see that return in this area, and we have seen some positive developments with the hospital in that part of the town or that part of the 250, 441 corridor. But I'm going to vote in the negative on this proposal just because I'm very concerned about the precedent setting that this will set moving forward. Any other comments?
I'll just comment. I'm compassionate. Dr. H has obviously tried to do something with his property, so I do have some compassion for that. But I agree. If we don't have agreement on the surrounding properties, I think it's kind of left us in the situation we're in. So I would tend to agree that I would not support this tonight.
Okay, so on the floor, we've got a motion to deny the application by Councilwoman Cole, a motion to second that denial by Councilwoman Draw. All those in favor of denying the application as proposed, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Hearing none, the denial is approved. Moving on to the next business item, we'll go ahead and move to item number D, tree removal, Penfield Community Center. I don't see Mr. Tait. Is somebody going to be?
Yeah, I'm filling in for Eric Tait. He's on
Okay.
vacation right now. My name's Tim Masterton.
Tim, thank you for joining us.
Yes, I'm with
Appreciate
the Parks Department, and the first tree we're going to go over is the locust tree at the Penfield Community Center. Once we get a picture drawn up, it's a hazardous tree. We've identified it as a hazardous tree. The main lead, if you can see in some of the picture, has broken off, and there's a couple larger leads heading over the drive and over the pathway that is there right there. It's been every windstorm, there's a branch or something that falls out of there. And with all the leads that have broken off of it, I believe it's going to start to rot and cause a problem in the near future. But and just the danger of it being over the road and over that pathway.
Yeah, that's sad. I know,
Yep.
people love that tree.
Oh, it's a great tree, but
What would you have for any plans, take down the tree? What would you
so
want to plant
if
instead?
we could plant hardwood, the town tree, that's the red maple. We could go something more hardier that would last probably a long time. Probably not any pine trees. We're trying to
No.
stay away from those when we're trying to plant stuff in our parks and stuff like that. So,
Tim, I think that the town tree theme would be a really nice addition to that area right at the community center,
Okay.
kind of the heart of Penfield there. That would be
Yeah.
a great choice to replace that
The red
tree.
maple, the bicentennial tree?
Right, or,
No?
either or.
Right.
Tim, did I hear you say, can you take this down? the
we can
highway?
take that down, yes. There's enough room around it. We
Yeah.
can shut off the parking lot. We have the capability to
Do it
take that tree
yourself.
down.
Okay.
Yep.
But it's really, it's a safety concern
It's a
and
safety
and a health issue to the tree. I know people will be sad about this one. It kind of stands out.
Okay,
Okay.
Okay.
all right, all those, I'm sorry, a motion, you have a motion to proceed as proposed?
I can't do it.
You want me to move it?
Sure.
I'll move it, sure.
Okay, Councilwoman Draw, can I get a second?
I'll second it.
Councilman Akinen, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. All right, Tim, it is yours again at 168 Valley Green Drive.
Hey, these are dead pine trees in our right-of-way. We do have a picture up there. We do have a release and consent form from the property owner right here. He was the one that called us at the DPW to have them removed. And same thing, we would take them down. ourselves, and we would not grind the stumps or replant anything since it's in the right-of-way.
And so my question would be, does the homeowner of the property next to those trees understand what the end result would be?
Yes.
Okay,
Yep.
okay. Just want to make sure everybody's on the same
Yeah.
page.
I'll make a motion to approve that.
Okay, moved by Councilman Akadin, second by Councilwoman Draw.
Sure.
Right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, hearing none, motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate you coming in
Thank you for
tonight.
having me.
You did a much better job than Eric did, so congratulations.
Don't tell him I said, don't tell him
We'll
that.
let him know
At least
that.
it's not recorded anywhere. Good.
All right, action item F, discussion regarding allowing vendors to operate within town parks. Mr. Costello, do you have anything on that?
I don't have anything
Or-
new. I know
Okay.
we did talk a few weeks ago about the fact that if you have vendors coming, in all fairness to the public, I mean, everybody would have the right to bid for the
Right.
for the ability to work out of these parks if we're going to move forward and do that. So I think the process would be, if you're thinking about allowing it to occur, probably the most reasonable and fairest and probably the most legal way would be to go out to bids and allow people to submit bids to see if they could do it in certain locations or all locations, whatever the case may be. I think the big question is, and I don't know if you're ready or not, but is to make that decision as to whether you want to move forward with that kind of a process, or if you want to not allow it to occur at all, depending on the situation.
What would prevent the town from having just kind of a general permit process? So if Andy Moore was running a hot dog food cart, I could get the permit, and then I could just decide on any Saturday or Sunday, I might want to go to Rothfuss Park, or I might want to go to the town hall, or I might want to go to Shadow Pines, but not obligate somebody to those specific dates, because, weather pending, could be pouring rain, and I might just be like, it's not worth it for me to go to the town park today.
Absolutely, that's certainly an option. I think the big thing we worry about, though, is if 50 Andy Moores want to do it at the same time in the same place, that becomes
good
a
variety
bit
for
cumbersome, because
residents.
they're probably taking up all the parking spaces for the people that are using the services. I think it really comes down to the board having to decide whether they are supportive of vendors coming into the park.
Yeah.
If you get to that point, then we can certainly work out a fair and equitable way for people to do that without, degrading the parks themselves, because you've got so many coming that you may have to balance them out at certain situations.
Yeah.
It was my understanding through an email that you and the town attorney and the town supervisor are all going to meet to formulate some recommendations. to bring
We
back
have
to
every
us.
intention of doing that. We just have not had the opportunity for one reason or another. There've been other issues that we've been wrestling through, and that has not made the top 5.
Okay, okay, but it's still
But I
there.
think it does come down to the fact that, I think internally you have to think about, are you comfortable
Yeah.
with whatever process we come up with for you? Are you comfortable with the idea of allowing vendors within the parks to operate?
And we've got some time to make that decision. I mean, as winter's rolling in, I think demand's
Exactly.
not going to be quite as high as it would be in the spring and summer, so.
You just never know.
Yeah, I know, I hear you.
So yes, you're right, and we will probably be working on that over the next few
Yeah.
weeks or so.
Okay,
Would
try
we
and
like
come back.
to move it to held item in the interim?
yeah,
And it was a held item, so we can put it back to that if you're
Okay.
comfortable.
yeah. Why don't we go ahead, can I get a motion?
I move that we put it back into the held items.
Okay, moved by Councilwoman Cole, second by Councilwoman Draw. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Hearing none, motion carries. All right, informational items, agenda item number 7, that has been withdrawn. Is that a correct statement?
Yes, I did, I contacted, as we were preparing the agenda for last Friday, I did contact Mr. Mauro, and he was kind enough to get back to me fairly quickly to indicate that he just was not prepared at this point in time to do that kind of an event, and would like to work with you over the next several months to come up with something for next year. I told him that was perfectly fine, and when he's ready to do that, he can come back to see you and start working that out.
Sure, he is welcome to come back and talk about his plans and talk about his ideas for the event. Happy to engage that. All right, then moving on, I've got held items, nothing to discuss this evening. Go to agenda item number 9, old business. Is there any old business? I don't believe there is. Agenda item number 10, any new business? None? All right, I believe that concludes the meeting for this evening. Our next meeting will be October 27th, 2021. Thank you for joining us tonight, and please be safe and be healthy, be well. Have a good evening.